If this is you sitting there, phone in hand, scrolling through nothing, waiting for a message that's never coming. Yeah, that tight little knot in your chest that refuses to let go, even when you tell yourself you're fine. Maybe this hits closer than you expected. Maybe you're thinking about all the times you reached out first, the texts that stayed blue, the calls that went straight to voicemail. And oh man, you remember staring at the screen, imagining her laughing, imagining her answering, imagining it all going back to how it was. You tell yourself you're done, you're strong, but then you lie awake, eyes wide, staring at the ceiling, and the silence is loud. The kind of silence that presses against your ribcage. That makes your hands twitch for your phone, even though you promised yourself you wouldn't. You wonder, did I push too hard? Did I scare her away? Was I not enough? You notice the little things that nobody else would. The way her name still pops up in your head at random, like it's got its own alarm clock. The smell of her shampoo on your pillow, even though it's been weeks. The corner of the couch where she always sat, now just empty. You bite your lip, try to stop yourself from thinking. You fail. Every single time. And then there's the part you can't admit to anyone. That split second you think, what if she's already moved on? But maybe you don't even want to know the answer. Because knowing, that might break you differently. Slowly, quietly. Inside, you're screaming but out loud. Nothing, just the hum of your apartment, the fridge buzzing, the clock ticking like it's mocking you. Maybe she noticed you stopped reaching out. Maybe she didn't. Maybe it doesn't matter. But here's the thing, you're watching how fast your own mind can betray you. Watching the images of her pop up in your thoughts when you least expect it. Watching yourself wonder if silence is punishment or if it's finally the thing that will make her see you differently. And yeah, it hurts. Hurts in ways that nobody else sees. Hurts in the quiet, in the waiting, in the second guessing. Every moment you almost pick up the phone. Every text you almost send. Every time you almost break and say something you shouldn't. You hold it in. You swallow it. And you hope something shifts. But what? So tell me, when the quiet hits hardest and you're staring at your own reflection wondering if you've lost her for good, do you stay silent or do you finally risk breaking the pattern? Look, most guys, they don't get this. They think stopping the chase means giving up. They think silence is weakness. They think if she doesn't answer, it's over. But that's not the way it works. I've been there. You've been there. You've sent that last text, waited by the phone, felt your stomach twist every time it buzzed. And nothing. And the first thought that hits, she's gone, it's done. Here's the truth, brother, it's never done. Not like you think. People misread absence, they misread patience. You pull back, and suddenly you see things you missed when you were trying too hard. The way she used to brush past a joke you made. The little pause before she replied. The casual glance that felt like nothing, but meant everything. You were too close, too involved. And you didn't notice. I remember sitting on my old couch one night, winter coming in through the cracked window, phone in hand. Mind racing, I'd texted too much, called too much. She didn't respond, and I thought I'd ruined it. Thought I'd scared her off, but here's what actually happened. I stopped, and what I saw days later was her presence in my world didn't vanish. It shifted. She showed up differently, responded differently. The dynamic changed, and it was all because I stopped chasing, because I stood firm. Most men forget a simple principle: your energy is not for everyone. It's for the ones who notice it, who deserve it. You can't force someone to respect it, to feel it, to match it. And yet, we try, we overreach, we text, we call, we plead silently through the screen, and we wonder why it doesn't work. Here's another truth harder. Maybe absence is the clearest mirror. Not for her, for you. You see yourself differently when you're not bending over backward for approval. You see what you actually want, what you won't compromise on, and what you deserve. It's uncomfortable, yeah, brutally uncomfortable, because it exposes your flaws, your attachment, your impulses. But that discomfort, that's growth. That's power. I'm not saying sit there and be cold like a stone. That's not masculinity. That's avoidance. Calm authority, That's noticing your own value, standing your ground, letting the world and her adjust to it. It's holding yourself steady when desire is screaming. It's remembering that your absence can teach more than your presence ever could. Think back to a time you wanted someone's attention so badly, you lost yourself in the effort. Maybe it was in high school, maybe last year. Remember how hollow it felt. That gnawing itch in your chest when your phone stayed silent. That's what most guys try to erase. But I promise you, sitting with it, letting it burn a little, letting yourself be still, that's what changes everything. That's when she notices. That's when you notice yourself. And here's the principle that shakes most men. Control isn't in the reach. Control isn't in the message, the text, the call. Control is in restraint, in clarity, in holding steady while the world dances around your energy. You pull back, not because you don't care, not because you're weak, because you're strong enough to let the natural rhythm take over, to let truth surface. So if you're sitting there, restless, thinking about the last time you reached out, remember this: you're not abandoning, you're recalibrating. You're showing yourself first who you are when nobody's responding. And that's the foundation of power. That's the kind of calm authority that no one can ignore. He sits on the edge of the bed, phone face down on the nightstand. The room is quiet except for the hum of the heater, low and steady, like it's trying to fill the emptiness. His fingers tap the sheets over and over without thinking. A memory hits, her laugh in the kitchen, the clink of the spoon against the mug. He swallows, hard, tasting it again. It's been 2 days since he last texted. 3. He can't remember. Time doesn't matter like it used to. He thought stopping would make it easier. He thought silence would be simple. But it's not. Silence is loud. The kind that presses against your skull, makes your chest tight, your throat dry. He leans back, eyes on the ceiling. The faint outline of the fan spinning above, cutting the shadows into slow, deliberate slices. He thinks about all the texts he didn't send, ones he typed, erased, typed again. Ones that would have ruined everything if they'd gone through. Ones that would have made him look small, weak, pathetic. And yeah, maybe he was, maybe he is. He shrugs, and it's not a shrug at all. It's more like a weight shifting inside. Her name pops into his head. Funny how it does that. Out of nowhere. No notification, no cue. Just a ghost of a sound in his own mind. He clenches his fist. Breath catches. He remembers the smell of her jacket, the one she left behind, still faintly there on the chair by the door. He leans over, inhales, feels the cold fabric against his fingers. That smell, it's like she never left. He thinks about the last time he reached out. Not texting, not calling. Just trying to catch her eye across the room. She didn't see him. Or maybe she did and didn't care. And that small, quiet thought hits harder than a shout. He pulls the blanket tighter around his shoulders. The apartment feels colder now. The walls close in. The hum of the heater seems farther away. He wonders if she's thinking about him, if she even notices. Part of him hopes she does. Another part hopes she doesn't. The part that hurts most is the part that doesn't know what it wants anymore. He remembers laughing once, standing too close to her, hearing her laugh and feeling it in his chest. Feels like it was yesterday. Feels like a year ago. He exhales slowly. Can't stop. The phone buzzes, maybe a message, maybe nothing. He doesn't check. Can't check. Not yet. Time passes. He doesn't notice. Moments stretch and snap. He thinks he hears the front door open. Footsteps. But it's just the building settling. Maybe the heater. Maybe nothing. And that nothing, that absence, it's sharper than anything else. The kind that makes you think, maybe if I do nothing, something will finally change. He closes his eyes, feels the pillow against his cheek, stiff and cold. His mind drifts. All the what-ifs that nobody ever says out loud. What if I'd stayed quiet from the start? What if I hadn't tried so hard? What if she notices now, without me reaching, without me forcing it? The clock ticks. Too loud. Each second hits like a tiny hammer in the chest. And then a calm. Not relief. Not peace. But something different. A realization that this waiting, this aching, this pulling back, it's showing him something. Not about her. About him. About what he's capable of holding. about how he can stand even when nothing responds. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what changes everything. Most guys carry these quiet little beliefs, and they don't even know it. They think stopping the reach means giving up, that if she doesn't answer, they've lost, that their worth is measured in her responses. But none of that is true. Not really. I remember sitting on my bed one night, scrolling through old texts. Every scene that never became a reply felt like a knife. I thought I was failing, thought I was missing my shot. But what I didn't see, what I couldn't see until I stepped back, was that I had been giving pieces of myself away for free, little by little. And in that giving, I lost my center. Attention is cheap. Respect is priceless. Another one guys fall into, they think silence is weakness, that holding back is passive. But look closer. Silence doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It doesn't mean she's gone. It means you've remembered yourself. I remember a time I wanted to text her so badly, I could taste it. But I didn't. I waited, I paced the apartment, I felt small. But when I finally let the silence speak, when I finally stopped chasing, the dynamic shifted. Suddenly, I wasn't reacting. I was present. She noticed, and that's the thing most men never get. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Then there's the belief that if you step back, she'll forget you. That absence erases. It doesn't. I've seen it. I've felt it. I stopped texting for a week once, a whole week, no calls, no messages, just space. And what happened? She reached out, not with drama, not with panic, but with curiosity. Because she felt the weight of my presence in ways she never did when I was bending over backward. That's the quiet, brutal truth. You don't lose her, you lose your own presence. So yeah, these beliefs sneak in uninvited, quietly sabotaging the way you move. But you can unlearn them, one pause at a time, one breath at a time, one moment of presence instead of chasing. You learn that absence isn't empty. It's not a punishment. It's a mirror, a chance to see who you are when nobody else is pushing, pulling, or responding. It's uncomfortable, messy, awkward, but it works, not because of manipulation, not because of luck, because it reminds you that your value isn't in her replies. It's in the way you stand when the world doesn't answer. And the weirdest thing, once you see it, once you really let that sink in, everything changes. Not overnight, not in some movie, perfect way. But in small, quiet shifts, your energy carries weight. Your absence carries meaning. And finally, you understand that the game wasn't about making her come back. It was about finding yourself again. This is what he understands. Most guys think action means doing, texting, calling, showing up, chasing. But the 1% headman knows that action doesn't always mean movement. Sometimes it's stillness. Sometimes it's stepping back and letting the world adjust to you, instead of you adjusting to the world. This is how he leads with presence, not pressure. He sits with himself in silence, phone face down, mind racing, yeah, but he doesn't reach. He lets the air settle around him, notices the small things, the way sunlight hits the floor in the morning, the creak of the building, the faint smell of coffee from the neighbor's apartment. He's there, fully there, without trying to fix anything, without trying to pull her back in with a text or a call. He knows the difference between urgency and necessity. Most men feel panic when they don't hear back. The 1% headman feels a nudge, that quiet, uncomfortable tug in his chest, but he doesn't act on it. He waits, watches, breathes. He remembers last week when he almost typed her name into a message. He remembered how it felt last time, the desperation bleeding through the words. He deleted it, sat with the tension instead, felt it, learned from it. That's strength, not noise, not reaching. This is what he knows about presence. It's magnetic, not loud, not flashy. You can't manufacture it. He's not thinking about her reaction. He's thinking about himself, about what he's building inside, about the way he shows up in the world when nobody's watching. That patience, that clarity. It radiates even when he doesn't notice. And somehow, even in absence, people respond. Even she responds because the energy isn't desperate. It's centered, it's grounded. He remembers small details too, not for manipulation. For awareness, the way she laughed at a stupid joke months ago. The way she brushed past him in the kitchen, unaware. The moment she mentioned something important to her, and he listened. He stores it quietly. That's his strength. He's not chasing. He's collecting insight. Insight into human behavior, into patterns, into what really matters. He chooses himself over the screen, over the impulse, over the fear. The 1% headman knows that his energy is a currency, and if he spends it recklessly, flooding texts, chasing, pleading, it loses value. But if he holds it, invested in himself, invested in presence, it grows. Grows in ways that are subtle but undeniable. People feel it. Even if she doesn't text back today, even if she doesn't answer, even if nobody notices, this is how he moves, steady, messy human. Not perfectly, not flawlessly. He gets frustrated, he paces, he sighs. He drinks coffee too fast, he almost reaches out a dozen times. But each time he stops, and each time he grows. Each pause is a lesson in control, a lesson in clarity, a lesson in presence. And that's the headman mindset. It's quiet power. It's inner steadiness. It's understanding that the world will adjust to him, or it won't. Either way, he remains centered, patient, present. He knows most men will never get it. Most will panic, will text, will beg, will flood her with signals. But that's not him. Not today. Not ever. He's building something that can't be shaken by silence, that can't be manipulated by response, that can't be taken away by absence. And in that quiet, in that stillness, the shift happens.
Not obvious, not loud.
But real. She notices, the world notices, and he stays calm, grounded. Headman, he sets the phone down hard, feels it thud against the wooden table, vibrations rattling his chest. A flash, her laugh, spilling over the kitchen tiles, a memory that twists in his gut. He swallows. Breath stuck halfway. The apartment is quiet. Too quiet. Heater hums, streetlight cuts across the floor in sharp angles. He runs a hand through his hair, feels the tension knot under his scalp. His mind jumps, texts unsent, calls never made, mornings spent waiting by the screen. And then it hits. Sharp, like ice on skin. He's been bending, twisting, dimming, all for a shadow of attention that was never really his to claim. Whispering to himself, almost afraid to hear it, I am enough. The memory snaps, her jacket on the chair, the way it smelled faintly of her, and he realizes it doesn't matter. Not really. The ache in his chest loosens. Hands unclench, shoulders drop. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, he exhales without hesitation. The world doesn't end. Silence isn't punishment, and he feels it raw, human, unshakable. His worth wasn't in her response. It was always in him. Phone on the table, screen dark, fingers still tense, heart still racing. The hum of the heater fills the silence. She's out there somewhere living her life, thinking her thoughts. You're here, breathing, standing. The weight in your chest eases, not gone, just shifted. Memories hit in flashes, laughter, light, the brush of her hand. You let them come, you let them go. And for the first time, it's yours, all of it. The ache, the clarity, the stillness. You realize she was never the test. You were.